7.3 Ford. So here's the oil rail right here. Oil rail is part of the head. There's a plug in the front, plug in the back on both heads. On the driver's side, this one's leaking in the back, so the O-ring we know is seeping and it's leaking. Try to get it off. Sometimes you can if they come out easy, but they usually never come out easy. So you try to put a ratchet back here with a swivel head. There's no room to move, even if you remove the turbo. Broke one ratchet, and so what we did is we went from the inside, drilled a hole that lined up with the square drive on the back of the plug.
So 3/8 square or half inch?
It's half inch. It's half inch square. But what we tried is we tried to put a small, a long, thin extension with kind of like a swivel on it, because it's hard to get that hole drilled perfect. I would measure it a bunch of times because we drilled ours. We were probably off by 1/4 of an inch. So we put a thinner, like a 3/8 drive to a half inch adapter, and it just shattered. They were snap-on too. It shattered the extension. So then we got the hole straighter, put a half inch drive extension in there, and put a big breaker bar in there. Then a guy stood in the door jamb basically and put his foot on the breaker bar, and it finally broke loose. So we got the plug out, put a new plug in it, and then what we did is we resealed. So you see this is just right now, it's just green masking tape. So what we did is, that right stuff, that silicone, like use it for sealing oil pans.
Yeah.
So we used that, put the tape to block it, and then filled up the hole with that, so it'll have some sort of insulator, because the turbo is right here and it's going to get hot. So it's a pretty good insulator, and the thing can take all kinds of heat. That right stuff, that black silicone, it dries pretty fast. So on the inside, we'll just shave it down, and then there's another insulator on the inside of the cab, and then just put the carpet or whatever, that trim piece over it, you'll never see it. And on this side, what we'll do is we have some of that exhaust tape like that, so we'll peel this green tape off, and then we'll just take a circle of that exhaust tape that'll match this, and we'll put it right over that. That way it'll still have the insulation value, and it'll work. So if you can't get it off, that's the only way, because you do not want to. Taking one of these cabs off this truck would take forever. It's not like a new cab where you can get it off in a couple hours. These ones would take forever.
Is that a high pressure oil rail?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so high pressure oil system, right? Feeds a pump, feeds this head right here, and there's another fitting on the other side. So all it is a plug in the back. So if you took that plug out and that plug out, you could see straight through the oil rail. It's probably about that big around all the way through. So it charges that whole thing with oil, and that's how the injectors receive high pressure oil. It just sits there on this rail. So you figure when that thing's at 2,000 PSI or whatever it is, it's constantly wearing on that seal, and this truck's old. So once it wears that seal out, and there's an updated plug from Ford with an updated seal.
Oh, there is an update.
Yeah, and if you ever really want to see what it looks like, you can see it's a half-inch square drive. You can look at one of the fronts. You may have to take something off or get a mirror, but you'll see if you just follow this oil rail, you can see it goes all the way through the head from front to back. This little plug will be like behind the alternator. I don't think you can see, or the air conditioning. You might be able to see one right. I don't know if you had a flashlight. So if you follow that oil rail, it's going to be back in there. But if you took off one of those accessories or put a bore scope in there, you'd be able to see the plug, so you know what it looks like in the back.
Is it just LocTite, or is there an O-ring on the seal?
There's the O-ring is what seals it, but there's LocTite. So what is it? Green LocTite is like basically permanent for like injector cones. If you're putting injector cones in, I think the LocTite we use is green. I think the color is green. It's permanent. So you can't use blue. It's not strong enough. So I can't remember. But like the second from the bottom of the strongest one, that's the one we used. Put it on the threads, put it in there. But you just need to get the updated plug with the updated seal, and the updated seal is like a baby blue color. It's just like an O-ring, and it snaps over the plug, and then you just install the plug. The hardest part is breaking it loose. Once you get it broke loose, it spins out by hand. Just trying to get that LocTite broken. We hit it with a torch before that, like a propane torch, trying to get it heated up to see if we can take it out before we drill the hole. Nothing. And you can't get it too hot back there. You start burning stuff. So if you drill a hole,
you can't take that off. It's part of the head.
Part of the head.
Part of the head.
It's machined into the head, so that's just
So the way they marked the firewall is they got a scribe or an awl, and then they just butt it up against
He did the best he could, because it's insulated on that side, it's insulated on the back side. He did see his dent. He drilled right where he punched it, but it's pretty hard to line it up. I mean, you can see how the firewall moves it. It's at an angle, and I'm sure somebody that's better at it, that probably has more time, could just take their time and go, okay, that looks exactly where I want to be. And we did draw a really small pilot hole, drilled it through there with a tiny little drill bit, and it looked like it was straight. Then we drilled the hole bigger, ran an extension through there, and then saw we were off by 1/4. But like I said, with the right stuff, it's really not going to matter. Stuff dries really fast, it doesn't crack. So I don't care how big the hole is. You know what I mean? You can use that, or you can use one of those plugs that you'll put in a body. Like,
yes.
you know, have a body plug. You use it. The reason we didn't want to use that, there's no insulation value in that. You know what I mean? So we just wanted to put that right stuff because we figured it would insulate. We know it's good against heat, and we can form it. So nobody will ever know. The only way they'll know that repair was made is when we pull that green tape off. You're going to see some shiny exhaust tape, and it'll be like a round circle. So we'll say that we'll make like a 2-inch circle, and we'll put it over there. We'll take the green tape off. So if somebody were to look back there, they'd say, "Why is there a circle of, you know, shiny new exhaust tape?" Well, because we punched a hole in the firewall.
Just rub some dirt on it and make it look all nice and used.
But this guy keeps his engine compartment pretty clean. If it was anybody else's truck, they wouldn't even know, but this truck's super clean. Guy takes care of it. So, anyway.
But it's still a Ford, Darren.
It's the best.
No, that is. On our video, that all the guys say 7.3 is the best.
I think the 7.3 is the best. But anyways, hopefully nobody has to do that job. Because your only other option is probably to take the engine, get it loose, get the transmission loose, slide the whole engine up, you know, maybe 3 inches. Then you can get a ratchet in there. But now it's not going to want to balance right either, because now it's going to be on a hoist. You know, you have a cherry picker in here. Now the motor's going to move around. You could probably get some room that way, but you still need to have a long bar in it. And maybe I would always suggest trying it with a swivel ratchet first. The one we used shattered the teeth in the ratchet, but Snap-on will fix it for free. They'll also replace the broken extension we used too.
How long are you gonna let that dry for?
I think we probably let it. We put the stuff in there last night, so we'll probably wait till the end of the day. The stuff, right stuff, if you're putting it like on a rear end to seal a rear diff or something, you got to work fast with it. You have about 10 minutes to work with it till it starts to set up. It's great for sealing oil pans. Even if you have a bent oil pan and don't feel like the gas is going to seal, you put that right stuff on there. But like I said, you got about 10 minutes to work with it. And usually if we do an oil pan like that, we'll let it set overnight. We'll let it sit 24 hours so it completely cures, and we'll never have an oil leak. But because that's a pretty deep fill for insulation, we'll probably let it set a little bit longer to make sure it's completely cured before we put another piece of tape. But that green tape is just there to keep it from oozing out. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I like how they stamp the code on the valve cover. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
97.
But if you work on somebody else's 7.3,
February 97.
I promise you, it will not look as clean as this guy's truck. I've never seen one come in here that's this old, that's, you know what I mean, this clean.
So if you guys have a truck that has a 7.3 and it's cleaner than this, email a picture to bundysgarage@gmail.com, and we'll put it up in a later video.
But it can't be a show truck. It has to be a work truck.
It can't be a show truck.
It gotta be.
This is a work truck?
It is.
Doesn't look like a work truck.
It is. They used it to pull a race car trailer for a long time. That's a work truck.
Here's Darren's shop yard. Well, Darren, thank you so much.
Thanks, John.
Any other tips, tricks on the 7.3?
No, not that I can think of now. But I'm not very smart either.
All right, see you guys later.